What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jordxn. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about things I wish I would have knew before I started mixing vocals. This is for the people that's thinking about getting into mixing, people that's been experiencing some of these similar things. I want to be able to share my experiences with you, so you can go forward in whatever it is you're trying to do with your mixing. So let's get into the video. So the first thing I'm gonna share with you is that I used to think that there was a cheat code, just like you probably thought it was a cheat code. It was some secret that people was just keeping behind the scenes that people didn't want to know, because they didn't want people to be able to mix their own music or just have great mixes. And that's not the case, you know what I'm saying? Because when it comes to mixing, it's not a correct way technically, you know what I'm saying? They have guidelines and like standards and practices that people do, but it's not like a correct way, because everybody has their own taste. It's like when it comes to baking cookies and baking cakes, or just cooking in general, because everybody has different tastes. Like, you might like a lot of reverb, you know what I'm saying? Somebody else may not like a lot of reverb. Just like when it comes to chocolate chip cookies, some people might love a lot of chocolate chips in the cookies, and people might like just a couple of chocolate chips in the cookie. Or when it comes to baking cake, some people might like cake with the icing, people might not like cake with icing, you know? Like, it's a lot of different ways you can mix stuff, you know? So when it comes to mixing vocals, you got to take into consideration that it's like everybody's not gonna love everything. It's not like one set method formula that you can follow every single time. It's because you're dealing with vocals, and the vocal determines how you're gonna mix it, you know what I'm saying? That's what people fail to realize most of the time. And once I realized and accepted the fact, it's like I could do the best mix ever, but if I don't have nothing good to work with, what good is the mix, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta have good vocals to work with. So if your mix is perfect, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, you know what I'm saying, and it's still not sounding right, we gotta look at the vocal recording. Sometimes it's the vocal recording, sometimes you're over mixing, sometimes you're not doing enough. But it's like, it's not a cheat code. Everything varies. It depends on the person, it depends on the artist, depends on the engineer. It's not a perfect way, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally not a perfect way. So if you've been thinking it's an industry secret, a perfect secret on mixing vocals, it's not. You just got to go out here, research, network, and learn, you know what I'm saying? Because everything is out here for you to get, you know what I'm saying? You just got to get it and apply it, you know what I'm saying? So just stop thinking it's a perfect way. It's not a perfect way. It varies, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own interpretation of perfect anyway. And the second thing I wish I would have knew before I started mixing vocals is that every vocal cannot be mixed the same way. Again, like I said in my other video like this, I said I didn't have people around me that was like musically on the production side, or was just into music at all. It's like I'm like the first one really, like, in my family to actually get into music and really be into music the way I'm into music. So when it comes down to it, it's like I used to think that it's a certain setting that you can use every single time, like Autotune. I used to think Autotune could be one setting, EQ could be one setting, compression could be one setting, reverb, delay, and so much and so forth, you know what I'm saying? But over time and learning, actually putting in time and learning how everything works, it's like I have to be able to manipulate the voice, how the voice is, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's voice might be brighter, you know what I'm saying? So I have to handle that differently than somebody's voice that's not as bright, you know? Because it's like, or somebody's voice might be more richer in the low end, and somebody that doesn't register that much in the low end. It's like you just got to mix things differently depending on what the song needs, what the artist wants, because those are the first two things that matter. The engineer, what the engineer wants, comes last, because it's like you are working for a client, whether it be a rapper, label, producer, whoever, you A&R, you're working for them. So it's like you got to give them what they're asking for. You just can't give people what they want. So it's like you're not gonna be able to mix something the same way every single time. So that when it comes to these templates and shit like that, they can't be done the same way every single time, because you're gonna have to manipulate and make adjustments and tweak things moving forward. So don't think that you can just do something one way every single time. All right, because that's not how mixing vocals works. And the third thing I wish I would have knew before I started mixing vocals is that the mix depends heavily on the recording session. If you have a trash recording session, you cannot fix it in the mix. All right, a lot of people hear the saying like, oh, I just fix it in the mix. No, like, some things cannot be fixed in the mix. I need you to learn how to record like the song is already mixed, you know what I'm saying? You're buying templates, you're getting presets, so record like the song is already mixed, because even if you use the templates and the presets, you still got to mix the song. You know what I'm saying? So you might as well record it and make it easier for yourself later. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't, like people be often be like, can you hype it up a little bit, add a little bit more energy to my vocals? But it's like, you should have recorded it with the energy that you're trying to get in the mix, because the plugins do not add the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot add the energy to your vocal performance if you don't have it in the vocal performance. So take this as you want. You know what I'm saying? Make sure your recording process is amazing. Make sure you give it the best you can in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot fix that in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So look, rappers, engineers, producers, singers, songwriters, whoever's in the room when the session is going on, make sure you encourage the artist or whoever is recording to get the best vocal performance they can. All right, get it the best they can so the mixing can be easier. And another thing I wish I would have knew before I started mixing vocals is that you're only good as the artist you work with. And what I mean by that, if you're working with artists that make bad songs that can't record and you're mixing for them, people are gonna associate the bad sounding, the bad song with you. They're gonna be like, such and such mix my song, such and such records me, such and such does this. You don't want that to hurt your reputation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying not work with people and get better or just learn things and learn from it, but I'm gonna just say, like, when you go and you try to make a business and make a name as an engineer, you're gonna have to pick and choose the type of people you work with. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be a great engineer unless you're associated with great artists. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was a clip that Alex Toomey had said or something, like people said about that. It's like, 40 is great because 40 works with Drake. Drake is a great artist. Not saying that 40 wouldn't be the same type of engineer, producer he is without Drake, but it's like 40 wasn't working with people that were probably trash, or probably didn't invest time in the people that was trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be known as the person that's like, you might know all the knowledge, know everything to do to make stuff sound good, whatever, but when people look to your mix reels, the song that you mixed, everything sounds like shit. We don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want that. I don't want that for you. So pick and choose. If you're working with artists and you notice that they songs could be better if they recorded better, encourage them to record better. Teach them how to record better. Encourage them to record better. You know what I'm saying? Switch up their technique. You know what I'm saying? Give them constructive criticism. Help them structure their songs. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be like, are engineers producers, engineers. If you want to be a producer, like, the real technical term for a producer is the people that, you know, help with the song, like the direction of the song, structure of the song, how the song should be approached, the melody, all this stuff like that. You can be a vocal producer and the engineer. You know what I'm saying? You can tell people, it's like, yo, you should probably, like, record that differently. You should say this differently. You should say this clearer. You know, things like that. You want to encourage the artist, because I'm just letting you know, you're only good as the people you work with. Because people could send me a song right now they could pay me to mix a song, but they could send me the worst vocal recording ever. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, people are not gonna be like, oh, he did the best he could with the mix. They'll be like, he couldn't even make this sound better. But it's like, you gotta be able to work with what you got. So it's like, yeah, I'm just letting you know, like, you're only good as the artist you work with, honestly. So take that however you want to take it, but I'm just letting you know, I don't want that to hurt you in the long run, because I want you to be able to have a good name as an engineer, producer, artist, whatever. Same thing for artists. If you're working with an engineer that don't know how to mix, that's gonna hurt you in the long run if they don't get better over time. If you're working with a producer that can't really make beats, don't know how to mix their beats, that's gonna hurt you over the long run. You know what I'm saying? So just take that into consideration, because you are, you know what I'm saying, what people's perception of you is, you can't control that. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make good impressions on people whenever you can, whenever they hear your stuff, because you don't know who is going to hear your music. You know, you might be the coldest engineer in the city. You need to work with some of the hottest niggas in your city that's on the come up. You need to do that. So yeah, just take that however you want to take it. I'm just trying to help. And another thing I wish I would have knew before I started mixing vocals is how important it is to be able to adapt on the fly. All right. This is very important, because I've been in studio situations where equipment just stopped working, and I did not know how to fix it, but I had an idea and I went with the idea and stuff worked out. Or like if something disappears in the session, you got to figure out how to get it back without people not knowing what's going on, or you just got to be able to adapt to whatever happens. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in sessions where artists has got too high, too faded out the lean and almost passed out and other stuff. Like you just gotta be able to adapt on the fly and control the situation. Because me personally, being in a studio helped me out more than going to audio school, because it actually taught me how to handle and adapt to whatever might happen. Because one night you might be in here as an intern, the next thing you know, the next day you hired at the studio. Or you might be in a room playing beats or whatever, and somebody like Mike Will might walk in and boom, you chop it up with Mike Will or something just off the fly of just being around. So it's like, if you can fix problems and stuff like that, that's being able to adapt on the fly, even if it's like out of a sudden, like out the blue type thing. So it's like being an engineer, you gotta learn how to adapt, because everything is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be a perfect situation. You're not going to have all the gear that you used to have. Especially if you go from this studio to that studio to this studio, you got to learn how to use the equipment that are in each type of room. You need to be familiar with various types of plugins. That goes with being able to adapt. You want to be able to adapt. You want to be able to understand. That's why I preach and preach and preach. You need to understand the basics. You need to understand the techniques, because all of these plugins do similar things. They just look different. Look, and another big tip I got for you, pause, like why do I be saying such things, is to understand that knowing the knowledge part, the education part of mixing is cool, but you gotta know when to trust your ears. And this is what a lot of people struggle with, is because they be like, oh, I read this article, I read this, I watched this video, this they say you're supposed to do this, da 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 da. But you know, people abide by the rules, but they still don't be comfortable enough to put their music out. And if you had all the knowledge in the world, why aren't you putting out quality mixes? Why aren't you putting out quality recordings? Because people don't know when to trust their own ears. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to trust your ears, because if your ears tell you it sounds good, most likely it sounds good. If you put your song out or your mix out or share it around to strangers or whatever, and people be like, oh, it sounds good, then guess what? It sounds good. You know, you don't have to use 8 plugins. You don't have to use 6 plugins, 3 plugins, however many plugins it takes for you to make something sound good. That's how much it takes for you to make stuff sound good, right? You might read and be like, yo, vocals got to be cut, EQ'd at this range, and cut this and cut that. But if you do that and it sounds bad, what good is the knowledge? You know what I'm saying? Because people fail to realize that these engineers that these companies hire to do these behind the mix and all this other stuff, you know, they didn't really use plugins on most of them songs. They recorded stuff through analog gear. You know what I'm saying? They showing you tricks and tips and stuff that they did in the session, but the stuff goes against the actual knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you don't push engineering or sound forward just stick strictly doing the same thing over and over. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta evolve the sound further. So it's like your ears won't lie to you, other people's ears won't lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's a common thing where everything sounds good, cool, good, put it out. But it's like, you gotta understand, knowledge is cool, it's good to know, it's great to know what you need to know about EQ, compression, reverb, delay, automation, everything like that. But knowing when to stop is also a good thing, because once it sounds good, you should stop. You shouldn't keep going trying to make it sound better, because if it sounds good, cool, but if you go a little bit further, it might kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can drink alcohol, but it's a certain amount of alcohol that you can drink from the point of being drunk and the point of dying from alcohol poisoning. So it's like, you gotta know when to stop. And another thing I wish I would have knew before I started mixing vocals is how important it is to practice. And what I mean by practice, you should practice weekly. I wouldn't say like daily, but like practice weekly. Practice on the things that you need to improve on. Practice on things that you need to stay updated on. Just practice, learn, like, get some bad vocals and learn how to mess with the bad vocals. Get some clean vocals, learn how to, you know, clean it up a little bit better without doing too much to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, get something that, practice on automation, practice on like special effects, beat stutters, vocal chops, whatever. Just get something and practice. Like, you just gotta practice, because practice equals more experience for you. You know what I'm saying? And don't practice on your vocals, because you be like, you're not gonna be like really truthful. You're gonna be very biased when it comes to your vocals. And another thing I wish I would have known before I started is that it's okay to do more with less. That's what I say. Like when I do my videos on my channel, when I record, you literally see me use Autotune or Waves Tune, a pedal, maybe you may see me use like a mic preamp, and then you see me use reverb and delay on the synths. Like it don't take much for something to sound good. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't take much. Like it don't take much to make something sound good. And that's my goal, is to show you that it's like you can do more with less. You know, especially when it comes to recording. When you're recording, you don't have to use 20 plugins. You know what I'm saying? Like you can use a couple plugins. When it comes to mixing, you can use like a couple plugins. Every song has EQ. Every song has compression. Every song has a de-esser. You know, every song has some type of reverb. Every song has delay. That's 5 things every song pretty much has in some capacity. You know what I'm saying? Parallel compression is a technique that isn't used on every single song. People use saturation sometimes. It doesn't have to be in every single song. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can do a lot with a few plugins. Like it don't take that much. And another thing that I need you to understand is that you will find your sound, your mixing style, whatever it is you want to call it, as an engineer or a hybrid of a person, you will find that eventually. It's gonna come through a lot of trial and error. You know what I'm saying? A lot of success, maybe a lot of failure. Eventually you will stumble upon the method that you like, the method that you feel gives you the best mix. This is something that a lot of people don't realize, is that you create your own method. You create your own workflow. You don't want to adapt somebody else's workflow, copy it verbatim, because it's like you can copy us because you can copy somebody's workflow, whatever, but guess what? You can't copy. You can't copy their ear. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear what another person hears. All right, that's the hardest part about a lot of people, because they be like, I did everything this person did. All right, but why doesn't my stuff sound the way like their stuff sound? It's because you don't hear what they hear. The voices are different. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna EQ my voice the way you're gonna EQ your voice. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna do that. Like regardless of whatever it is you try to say, is like, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna EQ your voice the way you EQ mine. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna EQ 20 people voices the same way. I'm gonna do the same checks to figure out what's wrong. I could be like, let me listen to this. This might need a little bit more boost in the mid. I might need to subtract some in the mid. But this person over here might need a little bit more air, a little bit more low end cut. This person might need a little low end boost. Like it depends. It varies. Like it varies. So when it comes to finding out your style, you're gonna figure out your style along the way. And also when it comes to finding your style as an engineer, your sound as an engineer, it depends on like the type of artist you work with a lot. You know what I'm saying? So if you work with a lot of trap artists, you know what I'm saying, your sound primarily is gonna be like a lot of trap stuff, because you gotta learn how to give people the trap sound with the effects and just the upfront of the vocals, and you know what I'm saying. And then you deal with like R&B, either male or female. That's gonna, if that's primarily your artist base or customer base, you're gonna be more prone to learning more about mixing the R&B and the soul. All right, I know a lot of people's gonna be like, I mix everything, I want to mix everything, but it's like, if you want to develop a sound, a style that's consistent, you want to kind of work with artists that's similar, especially like if they dope, because it's more artists out there that's like that. I know people that own studios and stuff. You know, one of their main engineers records a lot of trap people. So guess what? He's gonna get a lot of trap people, you know, because once one trap rapper hears it, be like, yo, who got you right with that trap sound? Boom, he's getting more people that's like that, and it helps him develop consistency overall, and helps them master that one type of a sound. Just like if a person mixes a lot of singers, that's gonna help them develop and perfect or learn more on how to deal with female singing voices. It's okay to be diverse in everything, but it's like, I just want y'all to find y'all a style. You know what I'm saying? You might be like, yo, I'm more of a trap soul type of person. I can mix trap, I can mix R&B. You know what I'm saying? I don't see too many people mixing trap, R&B, and country. I don't see country engineers hopping over mixing trap music. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different. Like it's different lanes. Especially when it comes to engineering, it's different lanes. Everybody doesn't mix every genre. You know what I'm saying? Rock people usually don't mix rap vocals. You know what I'm saying? Like, it depends. Like, it all depends, it all varies, but everybody has like a signature style at some point, and you will figure that out. Look, and the last tip I'm gonna leave you with, again, bro, like, what's up with the sus? Like, why does thing sound so sus? But look, the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is to be confident in your own skills. You gotta be confident in your skill set, all right? Regardless of whatever level you are starting, been doing it for forever, you've been doing it for years, months, whatever, you got to be confident in yourself. You can't accomplish nothing without confidence. You got to be able to believe it first. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to believe your mixes are good. You know, you got to be able to believe your mixes are good. You got to be able to believe you can get better. If you don't believe you can get better, then why are you even trying to get better if you don't even believe you're going to get better? Because you're not even going to put forward your best foot. You know, I can't even really talk because I'm really talking from top of the head, you know what I'm saying, just like I do in my videos, because I want you to be confident. I make videos, I make content for people that want to help push music forward, want to create different sounds, they want to create their own sound that's confident in themselves, they know what they're doing is going to work eventually, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you believe in yourself, people will see that and they will follow you. They will believe in you as well. They will trust you. You know what I'm saying? They will respect you more. You know what I'm saying? If you make a creative decision for one of your mixes and it might be something unusual, and then all of a sudden when people be like, yo, what'd you do this right here? You might feel insecure and be like, I don't know, I think I messed up. When in reality, the person really liked what you did and you didn't stand on it, so they thought you did it by accident, so you can't go back on it. It was like, oh, I meant to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to stand on whatever it is that you do, especially if you're trying something new, trying to create a unique sound, something that's just unique to you, or just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you just got to be able to stand on it. I want you to build the confidence. I want you to be able to be confident. I want you to get the money. I want you to get the respect. I want you to get the clients, whatever it is you want to do with like with mixing or whatever like that. But listen, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It's your boy Jordxn. I'm out of here. All right, cool.